Hey everybody, this is Mark from Eddsworld the Movie, and I'm back with another interview. This time, it's been highly requested. I'm here with Kevin Horton, the voice of the sinister General McCoy. Say hello, Kevin.
Hello, Eddsworld fans.
Oh my god. All right. We just finished recording something for a little something you don't really need to know about right now. And since the time is right, we just decided to do an interview. And you guys are really wanting to see it, so here we are. How do you feel about that, Kevin?
I feel very humbled, and I may sound all mean and everything as the voice of General McCoy, but I am truly humbled to be part of this project.
That's very good to know. Now, so you're very much involved in the voice acting community, right?
Yes, I am. Not as popular as a lot of people would expect. I've only been doing voice acting for a couple years, but I found myself involved with several projects.
Like,
I've been involved in radio and doing voiceovers a lot for a lot of theme parks, and especially in the California area.
so what other kinds of like specific voice work have you done in the past aside from that? Like, or is this like your first legitimate voice acting gig doing the movie?
It really is the first legitimate project that I've had, but I've done other things like voice introductions for YouTube channels, especially for haunted attractions, because ever since I was young, I've had this voice. And for years, I would get around the corner and scare the heck out of my mom every October. And then I figured, after doing this for several thousand times, I could see making some money at it. So someone finally kicked me in the behind, and I started to try and do it. And my real inspiration since I was 9 years old is I don't know if you've ever been out to California to actually go on the Haunted Mansion attraction at Disneyland.
I've been on the Haunted Mansion at Disney World. Is that is basically the same thing?
Yes, it's the same man that does the ghost host voice. When I heard that ghost host voice, I said, even in my small 9-year-old mind, I want to do that someday.
So your voice was always this deep, even at 9 years old?
Pretty close, yes.
Ooh. So at 9 years old, would you say that you sounded like something like I sound right now?
Yet, or maybe even a little bit deeper.
Ooh.
It was really kind of strange because I would be a small little kid, was real skinny and everything, and then that huge voice would come out of my mouth.
Wow. Not even my voice was that deep at 9 years old.
And I do a lot of haunted attraction things, and so especially for the voice of General McCoy, I can actually lower it down.
So obviously you're playing General McCoy for this Eddsworld movie. You've never seen Eddsworld before doing being cast, have you?
And that's where it got really interesting because I didn't know much about Ed's World, but boy, once I started doing the program, I realized how much love is out there for Ed Gould and everyone associated with Ed's World.
So really, before you started watching the show, what made you decide to take part in the movie? Was it the character, or was it just a golden opportunity for you to do something like this?
It was both. Actually, there's three parts to it. It was three parts. First of all, I enjoyed the opportunity, and I was always taught to always jump at every opportunity that you have because you never know when that golden door is going to open for another opportunity. And then I also, down in my heart of hearts, I love cartoons,
Mm.
and I figured that was the cartoons are really awesome. And with the advent of YouTube and just all the animators out there, you have a huge platform to do all the various characters that you like. And then what I noticed from the word go is just the amount of love they have for Ed's World.
Yeah, yeah. YouTube is really is a great way for animators to connect with each other and collaborate, and that just leads us with a lot of really not groundbreaking, but very inventive kind of shows, like Eddsworld, for example.
And when I was getting instruction on voice work, one of the instructors that I had, who's by the name of Alan Gibby, I believe that's his last name, or else he'll call me and tell me that I pronounced his name wrong. He was an Emmy Award-winning producer, and the last thing he said to me during his class was, consider YouTube and do as many opportunities on YouTube as you can.
Words of wisdom. Words
And
of
I just
wisdom.
decided to take him up on that, and I figured, what's to lose? And you have everything to gain.
Pretty much, yeah. So what's it like to play a character that's as sinister as General McCoy? Is it nothing new to you because you've done the haunted attractions, or is this just something completely different?
It's completely different in a way because all of the other haunted attractions, when you go in to record for them, they already have an idea of what they want you to sound like. And I know with Eddsworld, you had a idea of what you wanted me to sound like, but I took on this role as I can create this character from the ground up because he didn't exist before in Eddsworld. So I realized I had a huge playing field.
Yeah, one thing that's really great about creating new characters for something is that like as the director, I can work with the voice actor to help create the character some like based off his appearance or based on his voice. Like Mel Blanc, the voice of the original Looney Tunes characters, he would just look at a character and just give it a voice.
Interesting thing about Mel Blanc is in one of the courses I took in voiceover school, or you call it broadcasting or something of the like, they gave me copies of the scripts that were distributed by Warner Brothers on the day after Mel Blanc passed away
Wow.
because they had to scramble to fill the role that he left, and you never realize the absolute enormity of what he did.
Yeah.
And he did it so flawlessly.
Yeah, he was literally the voice of almost every single Looney Tunes character.
And I'd like to tell your listeners to look up Jack Benny and Mel Blanc, and because before
Oh, yeah.
Warner Brothers, he was on the Jack Benny program, and he
Right.
has done some hilarious skits.
I know. I've heard and seen clips of Mel Blanc on the Jack Benny Show, and he is wonderful in that.
There is one skit there. All he does is he plays the violin teacher for Jack Benny, and many of your listeners may not know, but Jack Benny portrayed himself as a skinflint and a tightwad, and this whole skit was all about he needed to pay him 50 cents, which was a lot of money back then, for his violin lesson, and just how it took Jack Benny like 15 minutes to go down to his vault, and it's one of the most classic Jack Benny skits. And then he ends up coming back, and then he asks them, "Do you have the money?" He goes, "No, I'm sorry, I dropped it."
I'm just glad that that there are voice actors out there who wish to accomplish what Mel Blanc accomplished, because Mel Blanc was very well known back then. He was the voice of Looney Tunes characters. He had perfect pitch and incredible range, and I feel like there's just so many voice actors out there who want to be like him, and that's just incredible.
There is also something that he did for the Jack Benny program that many of your listeners won't realize is Jack Benny had a old broken down car called the Maxwell, and the Maxwell did not exist. Mel Blanc was the voice of the engine of the Maxwell car.
Ooh. So back to the movie, you're playing General McCoy, who's supposed to be a very sinister character. Are you hoping that fans of the show will get scared of him and want to see Ed, Matt, and Tom save the day? Do you?
Well, I think that it's a character that you will love to hate, and he's just so crazy that he's awesome.
Yeah, finally somebody understands me.
And he's just one of those characters that you just crosses the line so many times, but yet you can't help but watch and see what this crazy man's going to do.
I think I think when I was creating General McCoy, I really wanted to. I went back when I was first coming up with ideas for the movie, back as far back as April of last year. I really wanted to. I knew I wanted to bring in a character who would be, who would just challenge them in some way, because this is a pretty big production. I think it's time we challenged Ed and the guys in some way. So I wanted to create a character who could do that. And ever since the start, I knew I wanted to have the United States military be involved. So
Definitely.
it just seemed to be a perfect match.
And I could just tell that with what General McCoy represents is just that he's just so crazy, but yet you love him. And then he's threatening world war, but you want to see what this crazy man's going to do.
Exactly. Now have you seen a bit of the actual show, like just to get a sense of what the feel for the script is like the feel of the characters?
Yes, I have, and I love what they did with it.
Now, in your opinion, how do you feel about the accomplishments that Ed Gould made for himself and just for the community?
It's because he absolutely loved what he did. And then he was the type of artist that I could see that would just he did the program for the love of the fans.
Exactly.
And you don't really see that much anymore.
No, now because nowadays with TV shows or most like sketch comedy shows, it's mostly just about what people like. What do people find funny? What do the demographics say is funny? What do they say? But Ed was just like, I don't care what people have to say about my work. There are still people out there who love it, and I just want to keep making this for them because they're what's important to me.
It's obvious to me that he had fun.
And because Ed had that mindset, I really strive to have that mindset as well.
And I think you're succeeding.
Thank you very much.
Because it's putting together a movie is a very daunting task, and
especially if it has characters that are just so well known and beloved as the Eddsworld characters.
Because then, even with the voice actors that are doing that, they have to live up to that bar of what would the fans think about if I don't sound like that character, and so there's a fine line to walk.
Exactly. Exactly like the guys who are playing the characters in the movie. At the start, I knew I didn't want anyone to directly imitate the original voices because I just thought that seemed unfair and just kind of cheap. So I just wanted them to just like listen to the original voices, but just hear it in your head and interpret it in your own way. That's what I wanted to do, and I think a lot of them are really succeeding in that.
I think they are too, and I think you have the ones that you have on the film they really personify the spirit of Ed.
Exactly. I couldn't be happier with who we ended up with.
And that's the whole thing with even with the production team and everything, even when we have our talks and everything, it's all about the love of Ed.
Yeah, I've hit a lot of slumps. There were a lot of times during production when I felt like I couldn't do this and that I should just give up. But I didn't want to, because even though there were those bad times, I still had a lot of faith in this script because I felt really accomplished when I finished writing it back at I think it was May of last year. So plus this was a big year for Eddsworld. Even if we don't get it out this year, I'll still be incredibly satisfied if it comes out like next year or the year before that, because it would have taken a lot of effort. I'll look back. I feel like I want to look back on it and say this is one of my greatest achievements.
And it's one of those opportunities that I was glad I said yes to, because you realize that this project is going to live on a lot longer than we think.
And then we're going to try and cash in on its success by making a crappy sequel, which is the typical Hollywood formula.
It is.
Yeah. But unlike Hollywood, I would not want to go into a sequel without having people really, really want it.
Because if you don't have the audience demand, then you're just spinning your wheels.
Exactly. Plus, I don't. I already got a few ideas rolling around anyway.
Like when I grew up, and then my father always instilled in me a certain work ethic. He said, when you have fun at your job, it's not a job. And so the important thing here is that everyone that I feel was on the production team, and those that helped but not able to help anymore, everybody, they did it for the love of the series.
And that's exactly what Ed did, and I really wanted everybody on the movie to have that mindset, but also at the same time I didn't want to rush it. I didn't want to I wanted to give it time to it can be really, really good.
Because if you think about it, if you try to rush, say, making chocolate chip cookies, say, oh, I only have 2 minutes to bake them, and then you totally go against the directions, they're not going to be correct, and then your whole recipe is going to fail.
Yeah.
But if you follow the directions and know that they're supposed to stay in the oven for a certain amount of time, and when they do, they come out perfect, it's just because you follow the directions, and there's a reason why those directions are there. And with movies and things like that, if it takes longer to make the project that you're happy with, then it takes longer.
Absolutely. All right, I got one more question, and that's going to be it. When the movie comes out eventually, do you hope to get more involved in the Eddsworld fan base, or do you just want to move on, or do you want to at least do more animation in the future?
I'm open for anything. I would love to embrace the Eddsworld fans and do more projects.
What kind of projects would you like to do in the future, animation-wise?
Anything that is challenging, anything that, because I enjoy animation as an art form.
Yeah,
I think that you look at cartoons like the old Warner Brothers cartoons or Porky Pig and things like that. Then you look at the new cartoons that are coming out, such as the Batman series and Animaniacs and all those kind of things. And I just say animation really is the place to be because it's extremely creative.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for doing this interview. This has really been a lot of fun and very, very, very refreshing getting to be able to talk about other animated works besides Eddsworld.
And I also wanted to say that it just really is a great thing to know that you're part of something that is much more than just a movie.
Yeah, I just feel so humbled to be able to work with people like you and James and Billy and everybody else on the team, because this is a really impressive work front, because we didn't have a budget. We still don't have a budget, but the reason why this movie is getting made is because of the love and support that Ed had for his fans and that we have for the fans. So that's just great.
And then to watch the popularity of the film itself just grow by leaps and bounds, and it's just an amazing thing to see. And now I realize that we're all part of a much bigger project than we may have ever anticipated.
It's incredibly great. Before we sign off, do you have any links that you want to plug so that people can check you out?
Yes. I also play another type of character called Dead McMame on a radio show called Darkest Radio at www.darkestjack.com. It's more of a kitschy type of radio show. It plays a lot of rock music, and I play a character named Dead McMame who supposedly was around in the 1700s. So if you like deadpan humor and fun rock music, check me out there every Sunday night between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m.
Is that Eastern Standard Time or Pacific?
That's Pacific, so that would be 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. So if your listeners aren't able to listen, the broadcast is also available on podcast within one day.
All right. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out Kevin on Darkest Radio. And this has really been a lot of fun, Kevin. Thanks for doing this.
Hello, friends. This is General McCoy.
No.
You are ordered to listen to this entire interview. I will find you if you do not.
Okay, guys. You heard the scary cartoon man.
Thank you, Mr. Lavallo, for taking over this interview, but I ask you to get to work on this film.
Yes, sir. Sorry. Okay. Thank you.
Private Martin, follow my instructions.
Okay. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you subscribe for more of these interviews, and I'll see you next time. Man, this guy scares me.